Hey everybody, welcome back. Again, my name's Ethan. Thanks for watching. This video is going to be about magnesium. It's going to be about the different cofactors of vitamin D. So there's about 6 or 7 of them, so I'm going to be putting these out as I make them. Hopefully at least 1 or 2 a week. We'll see. My schedule's been kind of busy. So first of all, I just want to get into why do I think it's important that we know about vitamin D cofactors. I had no clue what a cofactor of vitamin D was. And the good news is some of these you'll probably already be taking or incorporating in your diet. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not like it's, like I had no clue about this stuff. But it is very important that you make sure that you're taking it, because I was not taking some of these and they kind of surprised me when I found out about them. So really, there's two main reasons why I believe that it's important to take these cofactors. Number one, I was diagnosed with celiac disease and alpha-gal allergy. So both those together in combination really kind of took its toll on my health, my physical and mental health, really. So as I was learning about vitamin D, I realized that I was missing all these other cofactors as well, and I started incorporating them in. And it wasn't until then that I started noticing an improvement in some of my symptoms. Still kind of, I feel like I'm finally starting to crest the hill, so to speak, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, but they're definitely important. So number 2 on the list is a kind of a personal reason. So my dad had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease about 15 years ago. He just passed away last year, unfortunately. He had dementia as well. So not once throughout his entire, disease process did I ever see anything about a vitamin D test. So it was this kind of stuff I learned later. I wish I knew back, in the past. So, because a lot of the, symptoms of some of these missing cofactors, I could definitely see in him, especially later on, but I wish I had known about this stuff a long time ago. So that kind of really hits home with me, and I'm sure you probably know somebody close to you that, may be struggling with some, or maybe you yourself are struggling with some chronic illness or disease. So this is definitely something you want to take to your doctor and have an educated conversation about. Okay, so with that being said, let's dive right into it. Bear with me, I'm just going to kind of read through these research articles real quick. First one, it was in 2019. It's labeled Magnesium Supplementation and Vitamin D Deficiency. Reading in the abstract here, vitamin D and magnesium are some of the most studied topics in medicine, with enormous implications for human health and disease. Majority of the adults are deficient in both vitamin D and magnesium, but continue to go unrecognized by many healthcare professionals. All right, so right there it just said the majority of the adults are deficient in both vitamin D and magnesium. And of course, it's hard to test for magnesium because it mostly hangs out in your tissues and muscles. So there's really no adequate blood test for that. They have to go in and actually take a sample of your tissue and test it, so it's a lot more expensive, and the blood test is not as accurate of a test. All right, so it says areas of uncertainty. Magnesium and vitamin D are used by all organs in the body, and their deficiency states may lead to several chronic medical conditions. Studies described in the literature regarding these disease associations are contradictory, and reversal of any of these conditions may not occur for several years after adequate replacement. One should consider supplementation therapy to be preventative rather than curative at this time. Now, I don't want you to say, oh, well, if I'm deficient, then I'm screwed. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't think that's what this article is saying either, but it's just saying, if you're having symptoms of low magnesium and you start supplementing with it, so don't be surprised if you start supplementing with magnesium that you won't see any resolution of your symptoms for quite some time. So then in results section, it says vitamin D and magnesium replacement therapy in elderly patients is known to reduce the nonverbal non-vertebral fractures, overall mortality, and the incidence of Alzheimer's dementia. That in and of itself would be a good reason to supplement with magnesium. Looking down here in the conclusion, to date there is no simple and accurate laboratory test to determine the total body magnesium status in humans. Again, I just mentioned that before. Magnesium is essential in the metabolism of vitamin D, and taking large doses of vitamin D can induce severe depletion of magnesium. Adequate magnesium supplementation should be considered as an important aspect of vitamin D therapy. So, right there in the conclusion, it just said if you're taking any significantly large dose of vitamin D, which I seen in another article that said anything over 4,000 was considered a large dose. So that would be me. But any adequate magnesium supplementation should be considered as an important aspect of vitamin D therapy, is what it says. So that was one article that I just wanted to start with that one because of what it said at the beginning there, and just how important magnesium and vitamin D are. That's kind of why I start with magnesium first, because without it, you're really going to be kind of screwed. So moving on to the second article, the role of magnesium in vitamin D activation and function. This was in 2018. So both these articles are fairly recent, which is good. I like that. I like things to be within like the last 5 to 10 years at least, because a lot of new research will come out. All right, so just in the abstract here, that's all I have to read is the nutrients usually act in coordinated manner in the body. I think nobody would, argue against that. Intestinal absorption and subsequent metabolism of a particular nutrient to a certain extent is dependent on the availability of other nutrients. Magnesium and vitamin D are two essential nutrients that are necessary for the physiologic functions of various organs. Magnesium assists in activation of vitamin D, which helps regulate calcium and phosphate homeostasis to influence the growth and maintenance of bones. Well, that sounds pretty important right there. All of the enzymes that metabolize vitamin D seem to require magnesium, which acts as a cofactor in the enzymatic reactions in the liver and the kidneys. All right, so right there is saying that magnesium is very important in how vitamin D gets activated. First, if you're getting it from the sun, the UVB rays hit your skin. There's a cholesterol bond that gets broken off. Forgive me if I'm butchering this, but then it goes through your blood and into your liver, where it's activated and becomes the 25-OHD, which is what's measured by the doctors. Then has to go through the kidney and get activated again. And that becomes 1,25-dihydroxy, I believe. So magnesium plays a very important role in that whole process. All right, so moving on now to just a little bit here from Vitamin D Wiki, which you guys know I love. So right here it says magnesium, about 1 in 300 people have a poor reaction to increasing vitamin D. But the vitamin D reaction, muscle pain, is almost always due to the lack of magnesium. All right, so I think maybe even more people would probably have a reaction to that, but that's according to Vitamin D Wiki right here. Magnesium increases the benefits of vitamin D by about 30%, so that's definitely a plus. Magnesium provides great many health benefits independent of vitamin D. Magnesium is used in about 8 stages of vitamin D metabolism. So that's more than I have on one hand. That's more than I have on one hand, right? So that's a pretty good number of stages that magnesium is used in, and I would definitely like to have adequate levels to be able to use all those stages, because you don't want to be missing any of those. So here he says 100 milligrams of magnesium seems to be enough, even with high levels of vitamin D. And he's saying that looks like maybe your gut can only absorb up to 100 milligrams at a time. So to take it more frequently, less and less at one time, versus like a whole bunch at one time and only one time a day. So I've been taking it about 300 milligrams in the morning and the evening. Sometimes I'll just do it once a day. But I will say I tend to notice I feel better and more relaxed throughout the day if I do it twice. So I think in the future I'm just going to do or try and find I think there's 250 milligram ones, and just do that maybe 3 times a day. So moving on, vitamin D appears to consume magnesium. So the way I like to think of it is it just kind of eats it up. And, he says right here, people with greater than 100 nanograms of vitamin D and do not supplement with magnesium are 2.5 more times more likely to have AFib. First of all, there's probably not that many people with greater than 100 nanograms. If you do, please send me a message. I want to know what you're doing, okay? I just wanted to kind of go over the symptoms of magnesium deficiency. If you think that you might be deficient in magnesium, you probably are. So number 1, muscle twitches and cramps. And this is from healthline.com. So twitches, tremors, and muscle cramps are a sign of magnesium deficiency. In worst case scenarios, deficiency may even cause seizures or convulsions. Definitely if you have an issue with any of those, definitely think magnesium deficiency. Number 2, mental health disorders. So depression and anxiety. So how many of you know somebody that's been affected by either depression or anxiety? They could maybe benefit by taking magnesium. Osteoporosis, fatigue and muscle weakness, high blood pressure. How many people do you know that are taking a high blood pressure medication, right? Asthma. Yet again, something that I was suffering with as well. And once I started supplementing with magnesium and vitamin D, knock on wood, I haven't had much of any issue with that. I haven't had to use an inhaler in 9 months. So, last but not least, irregular heartbeat. Definitely, obviously, I want you, if you're having any of these symptoms, be checked out by your doctor, obviously. And I want you to take this information and have an intelligent conversation with your doctor, about, supplementing with this stuff, and if that's okay with them, then definitely go ahead and start, because it'll definitely be beneficial for you in the long run. I had heard tons of stuff about how, because of the way farming is now, that the foods that we eat are just depleted of magnesium nowadays. So, and I think the RDA, according to what research I've seen, has been 300 or so for female, and then 400 to 450 for male. But really, there's no dangerous upper limit. You'll know if you're taking too much. And also, I just want to say there's different kinds of magnesium. There's magnesium citrate, taurate, magnesium oxide, magnesium threonate. That's supposed to be the real good one for anxiety and stuff like that. So, but just even the cheaper magnesium citrate, that shouldn't be a problem, and it will definitely be beneficial for you. So definitely go check all that stuff out. There's a lot of information out there about the different types of magnesium. So anyways, I know that was a lot of information, and really I could keep going on all day about magnesium or magnesium deficiency, but I just wanted to point out that is a very important cofactor of vitamin D. If you're not taking that separately along with the vitamin D, and what I mean by separately is not just what's in your daily multivitamin, because what I've seen in those is it might be 100 milligrams if you're lucky. So definitely see what's in your daily vitamin, and then just you might want to supplement with a couple hundred more milligram. At least start off with that and see how you feel. Because the only thing you're going to get from taking too much is you'll probably get the runs, or have to be run to the bathroom or whatever. So you'll know if you've taken too much, and then just cut back a little bit. And then, like I said, just try and spread it out a little bit throughout the day. So anyways, thanks for watching. Be looking out for those other cofactor videos I'll be putting out there. So subscribe so you get a notification. If you haven't already, check out my other video on celiac disease, vitamin D, and the microbiome. Anyways, thanks again for watching. See you next time.